Hello, my unremarkable friends. Today on the Unremarkable Entrepreneur podcast, I'm bringing you another article read through. For those of you who haven't tuned in for the last few episodes, what I'm doing here is I'm just creatively distributing my content in a new way. Many of you will know that I am trying to write the Unremarkable Entrepreneur book, one article at a time. We're not going to rush it. It's going to be a work of probably the next year. I don't know. It might happen sooner than that. We'll see. But I'm really excited to be doing a lot of writing, and I'm really excited to be gaining a lot of new subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed yet, now would be a great time. Please do so at unremarkable.co. It would be great to have you as a member of the Unremarkable Entrepreneurs. We're a great gang to belong to, so it'd be nice if you wanted to join us. And of course, you can message me through Substack as well, or reach out to me on other platforms. I publish a lot on LinkedIn as well. So there's plenty of ways to reach out to me. If you're somebody who's going, I actually am trying to start something, and I could probably do with some support from somebody who has recently walked this path and knows what it's like to be in my shoes. I'm here to have those kind of conversations. But anyway, back to it. This is, like I say, an article read through, and this article is called Stop Asking Work to Save You: Why Your Job Isn't Your Life and Why That's the Point. We've got winning all wrong. For many of us, work is a means to an end, and we can make our peace with that. When your life has variety, community, friends, and art, your job might just grease the wheels, and that's okay. If it's not okay, that friction might have nothing to do with your job, though it might feel like it. Instead, it might indicate that you lack variety, movement, and meaning elsewhere. During the pandemic, my wife and I experienced the collapse of variety. And in the giant marquee of life, our jobs became the only tentpole. Just imagine it: a sweeping canvas and all of its massive weight pulling down on a single point of focus. Without meaning to, we expected too much value from work. Value it was never designed to give, could never give. And for a time, work felt like an anchor holding the ship down against a rising tide. But work wasn't really the anchor. It was just the unwilling victim of the drama playing out elsewhere, a vessel through which our angst could flow. Now, we've moved house. Our son has been born. We're meeting new parents. We've made new friends at the gym, and I've started going back to church. In short, we've raised new tentpoles that can support the grand canopy of life. Its weight distributed, creating shelter. In its shadow, room to move and breathe, space for new connections and friendships to form. And with it, of course, the work lifts too. Our work exists in the service of life. It's no longer the center of it. It's one of those, obviously ideas. And yet, time and again, I see friends and loved ones trying to solve a dissatisfaction with life by changing their work, when the reverse is often required. Changing what you do might change how you feel. But most of the time, we just take our insecurities, our frustrations, our blind spots and triggers with us. And after the honeymoon period fades, we remain who we always were, incomplete, with bigger questions to answer. For most people, when fairly held, work is a transaction. We exchange time, energy, and brain power for money. That's it. And that's okay. When the exchange is fair, work promises a great many things: security and stability among them, maternity cover, affording things with ease, weekends that belong to you, all those kinds of things. It's not work's job to give you purpose, validate your worth, or ease the strain where you're not raising new tentpoles to support life more broadly. Where work facilitates warm connections and occasional direction, that's good. But here's the hard truth. Your life experience is not your employer's core function. But in the exchange, you do get to put your job down at day's end. Your weekends are yours to enjoy or indeed to whinge through. The trouble starts when we expect work to be more than this transaction, when we demand that it gives us identity, meaning, community, and creative expression all at once. That's not a job anymore. That's a religion. And most jobs make terrible gods. After 5 redundancies in a decade, I understand the impulse to escape, to start your own business powered by earn what I deserve or achieve financial freedom energy. But these objectives create an impossible paradox. When will you have achieved your worth? When you hit 6 figures? When you hit 7 figures? Will you ever feel financially free? Or will your expectations expand to match your new wealth? And there's a new world of frustration waiting for those who do take the plunge. Because here's what nobody tells you. Being good at what you've been trained to do doesn't mean you have the adjacent skills required to make a business work. You'll need to sink hundreds, maybe thousands of uncertain hours into earning almost nothing whilst learning those skills. New businesses fail within 2 years, not because of the official reasons we hear about, but because of that skills gap and the distance between expectation and reality. It amplifies every negative feeling about worth you carried into the launch. You see, if you believe it's going to be a battle, you'll approach the work with a warrior's mindset. If you believe opportunity is scarce, you'll become cheap. For many, entrepreneurship doesn't set them free, it just amplifies their flaws. Hustle culture is the exemplification of this, a pervasive myth whose conditioning I struggle to break every day. I do my best to remember this piece of unremarkable thinking. Entrepreneurship isn't designed to make me rich, it's designed to set me free, financially, spiritually, and creatively. For most, the friction feels too much, the way too unclear. Disconnected from colleagues who may have been your only friends, working in your leisure space, hours longer, earning less, security? What security? So people give up, not because they lack hustle or because they lack the will, but because they started for the wrong reasons, without respecting the cost, without understanding themselves. The Rolling Stones said it best. They said, "You don't always get what you want, you can sing it with me, but sometimes you get what you need." Let's think about smiles for a second. A smile is only a smile because you don't smile all the time. If you did, that would be creepy, and it would be meaningless. It would just be your face. Wealth without limits is just a new normal. Restaurant Gordon Ramsay might as well be McDonald's if it doesn't cost you anything. Financial freedom is painfully overrated. It might not even be real, and not recommended for the majority of people who understand that value isn't a number, it's a decision born from the tension that not everything is possible. And maybe we should keep it that way. If you start by pursuing external validation or unattainable metrics about financial freedom, you might get what you've chosen, but you won't get what you want or what you need. Peace, joy, contentment, space to enjoy your life. If you slave yourself to objectives that can never be satisfied, all your actions will have your insecurity, not your power, baked into their DNA. No truly satisfying business was ever built on such foundations. Yes, there are wealthy, powerful people who've achieved it. But are they happy? Would you want their life? Do you want to downgrade your Michelin-starred meal to just food? Of course not. So what actually works? Whether you stay in your job or start a business, the answer is the same. Stop asking work to hold up the entire canopy. Before you change jobs, before you launch a business, before you chase financial freedom, raise the other tent poles first. And if you do want to start a business, interrogate your motivations. Do you want to start a business to solve a problem or to express who you are and to serve? The difference is crucial. In one world, you've just chosen another master to work for. In the other, you're working towards your most realized self. Here's what I've learned through 5 redundancies and building my own business. The problem was never the work itself. The problem was that the work had become the structure. I was relying on it to hold up the canopy of everything else. When I finally raised new poles, moved house, became a father, joined a gym, returned to church, my business didn't just survive, it breathed. Not because I worked harder, but because work stopped carrying weight it was never designed to bear. And I'm not saying that when my business breathed, money started pouring in, not at all. I'm saying that those kind of outcomes became proportionally important. This is why constraints matter more than ambition, why practice matters more than outcomes, why the bottlenecks of your business might have nothing to do with the work. They might be resolved by raising other tent poles in your life that create stability and space that lets your work find its own rhythm. And when you do, you might find that work abdicates its throne at the center of your world and instead becomes a great partner in service of your life. And for most, that's the win they've been looking for all along. Okay, let's indulge in a quick activity to help bring all of this to life. This is your tentpole audit, and you're going to need a pen and a piece of paper. What we're going to do is we're going to explore where you might need to raise or reinforce tent poles to support your grand canopy of life. It'll take about 5 minutes. And what I want you to do is draw 5 columns on the piece of paper and label them: work, purpose, value, wonder, relationships. Work is about your job, it's about your business or your career. Purpose is about your long-term sense of direction and contribution, the work that matters beyond the paycheck. Value, this is about your grounded sense of self-worth, the relationships and communities where you're seen and valued for who you are, not what you produce. Wonder, this is about the interest and experience that bring you joy, the things you do simply because they delight you. And relationships, the meaningful connections you actively invest in, the people who know you beyond your job title. Now, in each column, rate honestly. Is this tent pole standing firm? That would be a 5. Is it leaning or a bit wobbly? That would be a 3. Or has it collapsed? That would be a 1. Just take a couple of seconds, hit pause if you want, but just take a moment or two just to jot down the scores in each of those areas. Now, if work is your only 5, you may have found your problem. And the solution isn't to make work do more for you. It might be to raise other tent poles. Which one needs attention first? Don't demand it from work. Design for it elsewhere. For whichever pole needs attention most, I want us to pause again and write down 2 or 3 specific actions you could take this month. Not someday, this month. Maybe that's rejoining the gym because you've been putting it off. Maybe it's texting 3 friends to schedule that coffee. Maybe it's signing up for that poetry class you keep thinking about. The specifics matter less than the commitment, but just pick one action, or 2 or 3, and put it in your calendar before you close this page. And look, we don't need to schedule some of this stuff, right? I mean, you might want to write it down in your calendar just to prompt you, but you don't need to think, oh, I haven't spoken to my friend who I missed terribly for 3 months. You don't need to schedule that for 3 weeks' time. Maybe you do, maybe life is that busy, but you might go, do you know what? I'm going to write that down for the end of today. Whatever happens, take a moment and write down a couple of commitments. Write them in your diary and stick to them before you close this page. Because here's what I've learned. When the other tent poles stand firm, work becomes what it was always meant to be, one support among many, not the whole structure. I wanted to end with a parable, a little story to help ground some of the ideas that we've been discussing in today's release. This is the gardener's choice. There was once a gardener who inherited a large plot of land. Overwhelmed by the possibilities, she tried to cultivate every corner at once. Vegetables here, flowers there, herbs along the fence, fruit trees in the back. Within months, she was exhausted. The garden became a burden. Nothing thrived because nothing received enough attention. She spent her days racing from one failing bed to another, wondering why her neighbors' smaller gardens flourished while hers withered. One autumn, she made a decision. She would close 3 of the 4 gates and focus on a single quarter. She chose constraints. That winter, she worked the small plot deeply. She learned its soil, its light, its rhythms. Come spring, something unexpected happened. The concentrated effort created abundance. The vegetables grew strong, the soil improved. And in that focused quarter, the garden finally breathed. By choosing what she wouldn't tend, she discovered what could truly flourish. Your life is a garden. Work is one quarter, not the whole plot. And the constraint of choosing which gates to close, which demands to decline, which parts of life to nurture and grow, is what creates the space for anything good to grow. So here's the challenge. This week, name one thing you'll stop demanding from work and one tent pole you'll raise instead. Write them down. Make them specific. Then serve the work, not the outcome. And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Unremarkable Entrepreneur Podcast. It's been great spending this time with you. I hope you've enjoyed listening in, and I hope that you found some value in what we've been unpacking together. I hope that Audit is going to help you just make some simple decisions about some new focuses for your life and where you want to give some attention, some people you want to give attention to, some energy that you want to move for yourself. And I hope that parable was just a nice way to bring everything into land. This is on the road to becoming some kind of community. And so I want to invite you to add your comments, add your thoughts, send me a message, join the conversation, start the conversation, whatever floats your boat, so to speak. If you're not subscribed, as I said, now would be a great time to do just that. Please visit unremarkable.co and subscribe from there. It'd be great to see you as part of the Substack community. If you enjoyed this article, please consider who you could share it with. I do find that sometimes we're so good at consuming stuff these days, and sometimes we read things that are good for us, and we know probably they'd be good for other people, but sometimes our minds don't get that far. So if this has struck a chord with you, please do give some thought to who you could share it with. Who could you invite into the Unremarkable Entrepreneur family? Family might be a bit strong, but you get my point. Anyway, that's a wrap for today. It's been a delight spending some time with you. Thank you for lending some time and some energy to me. And I will see you again very soon.